love so bright. You and me must do something right. Baby, I believe in us. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. I'm sorry for the burden, sorry I was hurting, but my scars are almost healed. Yeah, my scars are almost healed. Yeah, I'm feeling like a child now. Everything's alright now, and it's all because of you. You made the flower in me bloom. Used to be afraid of everything, but now there's no more fear. Yeah, I used to let nobody in and hide my face with tears. But without you as someone who can love someone like me, but I was wrong, baby. Now I believe. You and me must be right. Something's in the air, I can feel it now. You and me must do something right. We can't get enough of us. You and me every night, aiming for the stars with the love so bright. You and me must do something right. Baby, I believe in us. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. You and me must be right. Something's in the air, I can feel it now. You and me must do something right. We can't get enough of us. You and me every night, aiming for the stars with the love so bright. You and me must do something right. Baby, I believe in us. I believe in you and me, you and me, you
Hey,
and me.
hey, hey. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, 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 hey. 3, 2, 1. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Danae Show. I am Danielle Danea, aka Danae, and I've got a lot to say. So let's get into it. Mothers are the determining factor when it comes to who their kids are and how they will be. Let's talk about it. So I came across this topic just looking at Kylie Jenner. She just posted a video of her second child. Her first child was a daughter named Stormy, and I think her second child's name is, it's not Wolf, is it? No, it's something else. I forgot. I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, she was a picture of her son, and it was a remake of a video she did with her daughter Stormy. It was a patience trend where the parent would put candy in front of their kid, but the parent would tell the kid that they couldn't have a piece of candy until they came back. The parent would go away for a little while in another room and then come back and see if their kid waited or if they took the candy while they were gone. So in the first video that Kylie Jenner did with Stormy, she waited. She didn't take the candy. There were a lot of other people's videos where the child took the candy, but no. Stormy was also singing a little cute little song. She was saying patience, patience, patience over and over again. It was so cute. And it got a lot of recognition. It went viral. So again, that was her first child. So she did this with her second child, and her second child didn't sing a little patience song, but he did wait, and he was so cute about it. And he did a little. He did something with his head, like, just being cute and saying like, oh, I'm gonna wait. It's gonna be okay. It's coming. And you could tell like he really was, trying to fight, the urge to grab the candy. He was just, but he knew to wait because he knew she was gonna come back and it was all gonna be okay. So it was super cute, but it really sparked the question in me: like, or sparked something in me that made me think about, like, the way Kylie raises her kids really shows a lot about who she is. I really think, because if you compare, I know a lot of people don't keep up with the Kardashians. I stopped. I used to heavily. I've said that on the show. I used to watch it in the early beginning when, Kylie and Kendall were super, super young. And yeah, but if you watch at just in media, I'll see clips and bits and pieces of like Kim Kardashian's kids and Kourtney's kids. If you don't know all the sisters, Kim Kardashian and Kourtney Kardashian are obviously sisters, and they have kids. Kim has kids with Kanye. Kourtney Kardashian has kids with a man named Scott Disick. And if you could look at Kylie's kids versus Kim's kids, it's just like it's night and day. I mean, people think, it's so funny that people think that Kim's kids are more of a reflection of Kanye more than Kim, but if you are like me and watched Kim as a kid and even as a teenager, she's just as ruthless, she's just as unapologetically honest as North is. So I think, I really thought about it. I was like, I think kids really are their mothers. I really do. And it shows so much in the child. And obviously, I think kids, when it's a two-person household, kids also gravitate toward the dad, but I've noticed it's more so of the mom. And I looked this up. I looked up if there's a study as to why that is something is it biology? Is it, just mothers being more nurturing, so kids just want to gravitate towards them because they're more soft and more sweet about things? Like, what is that? What is the reason for that? And I couldn't really find anything. When I did the Google, it just brought up genetics. So I'm really just going off my personal opinion. And my personal opinion is, most kids are their mom. If you look at a kid and how they act, what they like, the kind of friends even they attract, it has to do with a lot of how the mom is and what values and lessons and all that they've instilled into their kid. And so Stormy being so patient and her second kid being so patient, it really showed how patient of a person that I think Kylie is. I'm not saying, Kylie is a super, 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 super better mom than Kourtney. I don't know, Kourtney or Kim. I don't know the ins and outs, but I know for a fact, just watching those two videos, that she is a patient person and she's instilled patience. That's something that's very important for her and for her kids to be just by watching those two videos. You can just tell there's no doubt, there's no question. So yeah, and I also looked at my family. I was like, I noticed my cousins and my sisters, all of us are like our mom, more so than our dad. I always used to think I was more of a daddy's girl because I look more like my dad, but when I sat back and even conversations with my boyfriend, he'd be like, oh yeah, your mom does this and you do this too. And I didn't even know it. Like subconsciously, so many of us maneuver in life thinking we're a certain way and thinking something's just normal or not catching us doing something until somebody else points it out. Someone cares enough to point it out and tells you about it. Because again, I'd be on phone calls with my mom and she'd do something that I, like, for instance, like she'll continue talking sometimes when I say I have to go or I have to do something, and she'll just keep on carrying the conversation even though I said I have to leave the conversation, and she'll go. It won't be just a little thing to throw out there. It'll be like it'll be like a monologue. It'll be a long paragraph of things she has to say. And my boyfriend, I was telling him about the conversation. I was like, she did that. And he was like, well, you do that too. He's like, when you call me and I say I'm busy, you'll continue to say stuff after I say I'm busy. And he's like, it's not a huge problem, but it's something you do. I noticed. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Well, to me, it is a problem. I don't want to continue to talk, especially if I'm annoyed by it. I can't be annoyed by something I also do, So I was like, okay, wow, I got to work on that. Thank you for making me aware. Because again, subconsciously you do this. And again, if people don't call you out on it, you don't really know. So if you're not as self-aware as you think you are, and I'm not, I'm still working on that. So yeah, when he called it out, I was like, oh my gosh. And yeah, there's a lot of things about my mom that I am more so of. You know, my mom is very, very emotional when it comes to watching movies. I remember we were watching The Incredibles one day. We were watching The Incredibles, and my mom just started crying out of nowhere. And I don't know who asked her, why are you crying? It's probably my dad. And she was just like, there's so much like our family. And I think but all of us were our dad in that moment. We were like, oh my gosh, what the heck? Like, it's not that deep. But I've noticed with other movies that, you know, for me, it's more so like any movie that has to deal with slavery. I used to get really bent out of shape. My dad did some acting. He still does. And he was featured in a slave movie. And I remember they didn't even show my dad getting beat in this movie, but they said it, and I started crying. I started getting emotional, and you know, my dad is the best. I gotta I gotta applaud any man that has a family with all women, because it's just a whole bunch of emotions going around, a whole bunch of, you know, us being just sad about stuff we have no business being sad about, and they just deal with it. They just are like, oh, that's just them being them, just women being women, and then move on. But yeah, we are like our mothers. And I think that, you know, when it comes to certain things, like being more logical about certain situations, I get that from my dad. Absolutely. There's a little bit of part of that in me that I had growing up. I speak about all the time when I was a kid, like I was unapologetically honest times 10. Like kids are that anyways, but I was that times 100, times 10, times 100, whatever you want to, very extreme. And I think I got that from my dad. He's very honest when he talks. He says what he believes, you know, even if you don't agree with it, that's it. Where my mom's was more so like, oh, she'll hear you out, and then sometimes she'll bend to what you, except when it comes to religion. When it comes to Jesus Christ, she will not bend if she is 100% for that. But if she hears another opinion that she might not agree with, she might lean into, you know, agreeing with them, or, you know, stepping back a little bit. And yeah, so again, but a small piece, like that's a little piece of the whole part of me, my dad. And I realized I am more so like my mom. And it only took for me to be in a now serious relationship with my boyfriend, now for me to be, you know, becoming more like him. You know, like he said, he's showing me stuff that I want to work on, that I want to get better at, that bad habits that I don't no longer want to do. And he's showing me those that I'm wanting to work better on myself and be better for him. But just kids that aren't in a relationship, I'm talking about little kids and kids that, you know, are super young, but even in adulthood. But typically when a man is there to guide you, you typically, you know, lean more into what he's doing. So yeah, typically kids, young kids that maneuver on their own, they have the traits of their mother, is what I'm I'm explaining to you guys. And yeah, it's just very interesting to see in a lot of people. I know, like I said, my cousins, I've watched them. A lot of them are like my aunts. And yeah, it's crazy. And I think that's why it's so important to have, it's so important for men to choose mothers wisely, women who they impregnate so wisely, because those mothers are going to have a heavier influence on your kid more than you. They just are. Even if you're an active dad in the house, you know, kids just naturally gravitate more toward the mom, and it's clear as day. The lessons and values are instilled through the mother. They just are. especially in single parent households like a Jenner in the Black community. You see, it's so funny. You see kids in the Black community, the raunchy baby mamas, the girls with the BBLs dating rappers and stuff, and you look at their kids, blatantly disrespectful, loud, doing inappropriate things, dressing more like an adult than they are a kid. It's crazy, and it's all because of the mom. Like, the dad's not putting his daughter in little skimpy skirts and, super tight clothing. It's the mother. It's the mother. Almost always. And it's a problem. It's a problem. I did a whole show about how children nowadays are so disrespectful. And people wonder why that is. Like, kids today have the audacity that we never had. It's because our mothers did not play that. It's because also our mothers weren't disrespectful. But in today's time, the mothers are disrespectful. So they think, their kid being disrespectful is just fine. It isn't nothing. It's just kids being kids. It's just them being them. It's a mirror. But if they don't see anything wrong with the way they look, they're not going to fix it. The way it looks, the way they look, they're not going to fix it. But I really encourage you, anybody watching this, look at the kids that are in your life, your nieces, your nephews, your students, and then especially students, for any teachers out there. And if you have these, you teachers probably know best, having a bunch of parent-teacher conferences, dealing with their kids' parents, you'll see like how different mothers, handle their kids or respond when their kid is doing something wrong. How do they take accountability? Do they, brush it off and make it not as big of a deal as it really is? It's all telling in how that kid is acting. It starts to make sense when you put two and two together. So I kind of knew this already, but again, just watching this little clip, she just posted recently, Kylie Jenner posting this clip of her son being patient with the candy. And yeah, it just made me think about it a little bit more and think about my own personal experiences when it comes to, kids and their moms, how I was as a kid, how my cousins were, like I said, and my friends. So, yeah, man, I hate that we have so many single parent households because, like I said, even though men aren't as, I feel like, as to have as much of an impact as moms do, that impact needs to be there, because without it, it's all on the mom, and all on the mom, especially for sons. It's so, it can be so damaging for that man to, only get all this feminine energy and feminine beliefs and not have an idea of what a man really is and how a man should maneuver in the world. They're going to be lost. They're going to be confused. It's going to be hard on them. Life is already hard. It's going to be 10 times harder because they don't know anything else. So men need to be there. They need to be there as much as possible. Men are going to watch. I know some men probably going to watch this and be like, well, women have the more of an impact. Why does it matter if I'm there or not? Trust me, it does. It does. Trust me, I know for personal experience. If my dad was not in my life, oh my goodness, I was already a wreck. But if he wasn't, I would have been more of a wreck. I would have been, I don't know, it would have been really bad. I just know, because I know me. And yeah, it's just something about having a dad, an authority figure, having structure. It's a respect thing. There's so much that goes into it. And, kids, they test the mother the most, right? Because we're more easygoing and forgiving and stuff like that. So If a kid is constantly testing you to see their limits and see how far you'll go with certain things, and maybe you're a new mom, so you don't know if this is a stage, you don't know if this is normal, you don't know what disciplinary tactics will work. It can really mess with you, and then you respond in a way that could be wrong for that situation, and now the kid is taking that in, whatever response you did, and thinking that's right to apply in another situation, maybe similar, and then it blows all up in your face, and it's like you can't really get mad. It's like you get mad that the turnout wasn't bad, but again, you can't really get mad because you did the exact same thing when the same situation was on you and him or her. So yeah, parenting is tough. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm not gonna act holier than thou. I don't have any kids personally of my own. My boyfriend has 2 kids, you guys know, super young. But yeah, we gotta be mindful of things that are just factual, and I'm just listing facts. I've seen it happen, that kids just naturally do, because even with my own situation with my boyfriend's kids, he only has his kids on the weekends, and his child's mother has them all during the week. And the kids even though my boyfriend's he's a great disciplinary, discipline, or is it disciplinary? Disciplinary. They're so used to it's 5 days out of the week that they get to do whatever they want, don't do chores, don't do any of this with their mom, and they come to their dad, and they do it because they have a respect for their dad, but it's a bore. They're sluggish, as to where if it was instilled, if it was a routine back with their mom, it wouldn't be such a bore. It wouldn't be annoying for him to do that, or annoying for them to do that. It would just be routine, like I said, just be something they feel like they have to do, right? So yeah, the mother makes the world of difference, and we've got to be careful. And women out there, just be mindful of that. I don't want to put too much pressure on you, but just be aware of the type of influence you're putting on your kid. Learn about yourself, learn about your triggers, learn about, certain bad habits you may think you might have. Go to a therapist, ask a friend for real advice. Don't accept the fluffy stuff. Ask the hard questions, ask for real answers, honest answers. And I promise you, it will work out better for you in raising your kids, you mothers out there. It'll help tremendously. Because again, I know it's hard, so I'm not over here condemning mothers that might struggle with their kids. They have really bad kids, and because I've seen it. I worked in a daycare, guys. You guys know I used to work at a daycare before I moved to Los Angeles, under a year, because guys, for all the work that we did, the pay was just not that great. But I loved the kids. I was only 19 years old, so it was fine. But there was so much that I saw, with the kids and their parents and the moms versus the dads, and kids that were bad and felt like they could get away with things. It was because the mom allowed them to get away with things. It was because always the mom, not the dad. That's a very important point. I remember I had a kid named Finn, and his mom would always pick him up, typically. But there was one day his dad picked him up, and I actually had to write him up for something that he did. And when I told his dad, he was livid, mad. He was like, this is unacceptable. And he looked at his kid with this serious look. And the little boy Finn, my kids were only 2-3 years old. He looked at his father like, oh my gosh, like I'm in trouble now. But the only reason why he felt like he could do that so much is because he's used to his mom picking him up. right? You know, his dad, I think pretty much the situation, his dad works a lot and the mom is always with the kids, always. And the dad typically only comes home for dinner and then goes to sleep and then goes back to work. And that's a lot of the time, the situation for a lot of hardworking men out there with families. They're always gone working while the mom's at home. Or even if the mom is working too, she's still involved more in the kid's life than the dad is. So, but yeah, that's why it's so important to put your foot down. It's so important to put your foot down. And I think women get scared, you know, because there's, you know, I hear men all the time say that, you know, there's a respect factor there. When they have kids, they know not to do. There was a reason why Finn got scared when his dad came in. It's because they know, like, their dad can beat them up. It's just what it is. They know they will, even though they're not going to beat them up. It's the fact that he can that instills that respect, that fear in them. Because I talk about, I'm Christian, you guys know. People talk about, why would you fear God? When people say to fear God, it's not like fear and like you're scared for, it's a different type of fear rather than like you being scared like something bad is going to happen to you. It's like, it is that, but I don't know how to explain it. When you fear something, you respect somebody. When you fear somebody in like a CEO, a boss, a higher up, wherever you're at, somebody with higher status, higher rank than you, when you have a fear that you're going to lose your job or something like that, you just have this respect for them. And the same goes for parents, you know. But a lot of mothers feel like, you know, they can't beat up their kids, and they're not going to, even though they're bigger than them when they're little. When they grow up, you know, they might be able to beat us up. That we're older and they're younger. So we don't discipline them in the way we need to. We don't figure a way around, you know, not beating them up, but it's something else that they could fear in order to earn that respect. We can't figure it out. And I am like that too. There was a kid that was really bad. It's something I got to work on too. There's a kid that was really bad in my daycare named Colton. But he was so cute, and every time he messed up, he'd be like, "I'm sorry, Miss Danny," and do this little sweet little smile. It's like a little devious, but also very cute. And I'd be like, "Oh, okay, I forgive you," right? We're just naturally soft about that, but there's things we just got to be firm on, especially when it comes to our kids' behaviors to other people. It's one thing when stuff happens within your household. But when it happens in public, and it starts at home, guys. But a lot of kids know, I've seen it. They act a certain way at home, and they act a different way in public. But yeah, it should be universal. It should be the same respect and everything at home versus out in public. But you definitely gotta make sure, especially these kids aren't going around, you know, doing this behavior to other kids. Because again, it becomes normalized and it becomes a cycle. And we don't want to continue crazy behavior, no patience, entitlement. I remember I saw I hate that it was a black kid. A little black kid kicking and yelling at a police officer. I don't know if you guys saw that viral video of a little kid, a little black boy yelling and kicking, punching a police officer or some type of authority figure. He was in a uniform, and I was just like, "This is crazy. This is insane." And the mother's just standing behind like it's nothing, backing the kid up. That is insane. In no way is that right. In no way is that okay. No way is that going to end well for either of you. So, us mothers, we got to step up our game. Because, again, dads are important, but the impact is greater. It's a greater impact from the mother. It does on the kid. Don't believe me? Just look at your life. Look at your kids. Again, there might be things that your kid does that's like your husband or dad or whoever. but in the majority, like I remember, and a lot of parents think their kids are more like their dad because they look like their dad. Again, that's what I thought. That's not the case, because I look like my dad 100%. If I showed you a picture of my mom, you'd be like, Some people say they see it, but typically only when my hair is down and out, because my mom has super long, gorgeous hair. But no, I do look like him more. But when it comes to how I am as a person, like I said, there's little things like me being, overly emotional about things, me, continue to speak when someone says they're busy, little stuff like that. I could name a whole bunch of examples, but those are the two I know that came to the top of my head just now. So, yeah, we got to be mindful of that. Again, nope. There's pressure, but I don't want you guys to, if mothers watching, to be like, oh my gosh, in fear that you might have, instilled some stuff that your kid, like you don't want your kid to instill some traits that you didn't want your kids to have, some traits of yours onto them. Just work on it. We're not perfect. No mother is perfect, right? Just work at being good every day. Work at being better every day, and I promise you, you'll reap the benefits of that. Instill patience, instill emotional control, instill respect, instill, being thoughtful of others. I love when I see little kids and they just do stuff at the kindness of their heart, and they know they're not going to get anything in return, and they just do it. Big reflection of the mother, typically. So great to see. And the crazy thing is, a lot of great traits are typically in kids already, but they get out in the world and they get influenced by, like I said, some bad traits that us mothers have. Start to overpower those good traits, and then what happens is they turn into adults with those bad traits, and then the cycle continues and continues and continues. We just got to point them out early. We just got to nip it in the bud early. And again, nobody's perfect. I'm not saying raise the perfect kid. I don't even think that's possible. Everybody has flaws. But there's some that are more unbearable than others. There's some that should be nipped in the bud, and it shouldn't even be like being blatantly disrespectful or having an entitlement attitude. That is learned behavior. We got to stop teaching it, ladies, women, mothers. Because again, we could talk about the guys all day. That's a whole nother episode. And you guys know I will talk about it. But we are raising the future. And I want our future to be as bright as possible. So, yeah. That's all I gotta say about that. Tell me your thoughts. Do you think that I'm spot on with that? Do you think that, all kids are a reflection of their mothers? Or do you think their fathers have more so to do with it? Do you think the environment has more so to do with it? I want to hear you guys' thoughts. I think all that, again, is a factor, but the main factor is their mothers. Right? So yeah, tell me what you think. Comment always. I'd love to hear you guys' opinions. Subscribe if you haven't already. And turn that notification bell on so you don't miss an episode, okay? And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right. Bye.
Aquel día el instinto nos decía que esa noche juntico no quería, que las ganas bebé nos ganaría, pero no fue así. Vamos lento, ya, que si nos apuramos no disfrutamos del momento, ya, y lo vamos a arruinar. Dale lento, ya, dile a tus amigas que hoy no vas para afuera, que estás en la escuela y vamos a jugar. Ella sabe que quiero a mi mamacita. Ella también quiere que seamos felices. Ella, la que se apresura a la vueltica. Ella es sin timidez. Como la ves, no le importa dónde y cuándo. Que nada no he hecho, no soy el que la mando. Nunca lo seré, su carácter no es de niña, que la puede controlar cualquiera. Y me encanta, yo lo sé, independiente. Vamos lento y verás, y me encanta, yo lo sé, independiente. Vamos lento y verás. Vamos lento, ya, que si nos apuramos no disfrutamos del momento, ya, y lo vamos a arruinar. Dale lento, ya, dile a tus amigas que hoy no vas para afuera, que estás en la escuela y vamos los 7 días de la semana. Te doy de mañana y consejos sabes que no es. Te doy el desquite, que me quites todas esas ganas que te tengo, mujer. Todo el mundo sabe que tú y yo somos más que pana.